Therapy. Just want to welcome you to today's broadcast. I am your host, Teresa T.L. Matthew. I am the founder of Some Foods, the maker of Some Sweet, and I like to say that that is the most spectacular sweetener that there is on the market. It is the sweetener that helped me to kick my sugar addiction. Also, I am again the founder of SAIR Nutritional Therapy. That stands for Sugar Addiction is Real. SAIRNT is the acronym for Sugar Addiction is Real Nutritional Therapy. Yes. So just so I just want to welcome you all today, and just go ahead and chat with me. Let me know where it is that you're coming from. I'm looking down here just to gather up some information, because it seems like every time I try and do something different on the screen, it's like, oh, it wants to freeze, so it kind of scares me a little bit. But nonetheless, just want to invite you to, subscribe to all of our social medias. That would be here on the HAPS network. That would be SAIRNT. Also on YouTube at SAIRNT, and Facebook at SAIRNT. And you can also get us on Instagram at Some Sweet Foods, Twitter at Some Sweet Foods. And you know what? I don't know if it connected, but we should be going also streaming live too. Or we're going to try to start streaming live to TikTok at SAIRNT. So that's exciting. So yeah, so just let us know where you're coming from, and then also, if you want to catch a rebroadcast of this is just the audio version. It is a podcast as well, and you can get that at SAIRNT on wherever you get your podcast from, and that stands for Sugar Addiction is Real Nutritional Therapy. So that's SAIRNT, Sugar Addiction is Real Nutritional Therapy. So yes, just want to also admonish you all that if you don't know what your risk is for type 2 diabetes, you can always go over to the American Diabetes Association, to their website, and they do have a quiz over there, an assessment that you can take to find out what your risk is. So, yes, so today we have a wonderful guest with us that's going to be joining us. Her name is, I got so many different screens up here. Her name is Sharon Niemi. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. But she's going to be joining us today, and she's going to be sharing with us about Ayurvedic practice. So that's what we're going to be tuning in today, and she's going to be sharing that with us today. She is a specialist with that, so I'm very excited about that. And yeah, so let's see, I'm trying to get some things going on here. It's like it just wants to open up whatever it wants to open, and it's not doing what I want it to do. So but yeah, so also there was a couple of things that there were some notes, but I think I'll mention those things to I'll save that for tomorrow. I was going to get into that, and I think I'll save that because I really want to hear what our guest has to say, what she wants to tell us today. So she is an expert in Ayurvedic medicine. I'm having a hard time saying that, but she's an expert in that, and her name is Sharon Niemi. So I'm going to go ahead and get her queued up in the back room, and in the green room. We're going to get her there, and she will be with us just in a few minutes. I am like, so there's so much stuff going on. I'm like really getting excited. How are you guys doing? How are you guys doing? So we're going to get her here. Let's make sure. Oh, I sent it to her. Let me see. Did she get the invitation? I invited her. She's in the chat. Let's see. Yeah, so she should get the invitation here shortly. So, oh yeah, just want to remind you all, drink four bottles per day. Get your water in. get your water in. This is a new bottle here, so make sure you get your water in. Yes, yes, we need hydration. So, okay, there we go. So here comes our guest. I want you all just to get ready to just be wowed with our guest. Sharon Niemi is an expert in Ayurvedic medicine, and she's going to be joining us in 1 second. Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you. How are you?
Oh, well, thank you. Sorry, this is new technology for me, so I'm here.
There you go. We see you there.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just the way it is. It's like this is new because this platform did a whole change, but I'm just working with it. I'm just going with the flow with it.
That's the way you get through life, right?
Yes, absolutely. Well, I just want to welcome you. Thank you for joining us today. And so when we can just jump right in, and you can tell us. I keep trying to pronounce Ayurvedic. It's like I have a hard
There
time
you
saying that.
go.
Oh, it was
There
right.
you go.
Okay.
Ayurveda, and it's broken out into two words to help you here.
Okay.
So it's Ayur,
Ayur.
Ayur,
Uh
and
huh.
then Veda, Veda. So Ayur
Ayurveda.
stands for life and longevity, and
Okay.
Veda stands for knowledge. So
Okay.
knowledge of life and
Okay.
longevity.
Oh, cool. Okay. All
Yeah,
right. So
yeah.
tell us about that, and how can it help us to to get healthy and lose weight. We're all about kicking the sugar habit and losing weight and getting healthy over here. So tell us about yourself and your journey and how you got into Ayurveda.
Ayurveda. So I was healthy most of my life till I hit my 40s, and then I hit a wall, 70 pounds overweight, and I was pre-diabetic at that time. So my sugar levels, my glucose levels were high, as well as I can't tell you how many other things I had wrong going on with me. And
Hmm.
the Western practice was, and I was heading towards menopause, and the Western practice was telling me that it's normal.
Okay.
Just try to lose some weight, just try to do a little bit better.
Hmm.
Here's a couple of pills you can take, a few suggestions. But come back if you need to see me. And for some reason, that just didn't sit well with me because I was so tied to nature my whole life, and felt that there was something more that I could do for my body
Hmm.
at that time. So I went looking for natural healing methods,
Okay.
and after about 6 months, I actually ran into Ayurveda.
Okay.
And for a weekend, and I studied for that weekend, the basic principles, and there was something about it that just struck a chord with me, and
Uh-huh.
I, within a week, I was registered for it was then a 2-year um, academic training program on Ayurveda,
Okay.
which I ended up in studying for 4 years. So I've had 4 years of academic study. And there was no other reason that I did it but to heal myself. That's what
Yeah.
I was out to do.
Uh-huh.
And so what I found was Ayurveda it's considered, it is ancient because it first came about 5,000 years ago, but it's far from ancient. 8 branches in Ayurveda. There's surgery, there's pediatrics, there's
Okay.
general practitioner, and then there's geriatrics or rejuvenation, and that's the
Hmm. Okay.
branch that I studied in. So
Okay.
Ayurveda is really the forerunner to Chinese medicine, and so it looks at imbalances. It looks at disease as being an imbalanced body,
Okay.
and imbalance meaning that it looks at us and everything around us in context of 5 elements: ether, air, fire, water, and earth. And if the elements are balanced, if you are balanced, then health is an innate feature that we are born with. But once you're out of balance, then disease can show up.
Okay.
Now, according to Ayurveda, diabetes is an issue with our blood, and there's actually 24 different types of diabetes according to Ayurveda. So
Okay.
depending if it's a fire and water based, if it's ether and air based, or if it's water and earth based. So different protocols would be given to balance the blood sugar and our insulin resistance, and make sure that we're able to keep that balanced. And the protocols then would be based on what the root cause of the blood sugar imbalance was.
Okay, so it looks at so Ayurveda looks at the root cause. So it goes to the root cause to to it flushes that out. How does it do? How do you do that? What is it that? How can you do that with your
So
practice?
it's through diagnostics. So we look
Okay.
first have to look at the person's body type, because
Okay.
individually we are either um, so let me step back. So we have all of the five elements within us. And
Mhm.
those five elements are broken out into three groups, or what we call doshas. So
Mhm.
you're either a vata dominant, kapha dominant, or pitta dominant. So
Mhm.
vata dominant would mean that you have more ether and air in you. And pitta dominant would mean that you have more fire and water in you. And kapha dominant would mean that you have earth and water dominance. So
Mhm.
that would be the actual first thing that we would need to understand, is what is your basic constitution and dosha. And
Okay.
then and then from there we look at the other symptoms, like excess weight is considered an indicator of stagnation. It's an indicator that the body
Mhm.
isn't functioning properly.
Right.
And so we would go down through the indicators of what you're experiencing, the uh, signs that you feel, because you will feel differently depending on what the imbalance is. So if it's a
Right.
heat imbalance, you'd feel hot. If it's a kapha imbalance, you might feel sluggish. If it's a vata imbalance, you'd feel open and airy and more anxious and wanting to
Mhm.
move and that sort of thing. So that's the second thing we would do, is where is that imbalance coming from? And third, then we would go down to even the tissue layer. So we look at it from the aspect of, as Western practice does, that the body's made up of seven layers in the tissues.
Mhm. Okay.
However, we look at it that there's an input and output to each channel, and depending on what the condition that the client is experiencing will give us a great indicator to hone in on even the specific tissue layer that is affected and imbalanced. Even
Okay.
things like looking at your tongue, is there coating on it? That would be a sign of stagnation and your thoughts, and even how you address problems or situations is a diagnostic tool to where
So
the
that
imbalance might be.
so when you say your thoughts, that relates to something like stress, is that where it compares to? Is like to compare your stress levels and things like that?
hmm
Okay.
So if this is so Ayurveda um, is all about making sure that you maintain the health of the healthy, and
Okay.
they claim that imbalance in the body is going to come from three specific areas: how you use your senses, what you see, hear, taste, touch, smell;
Okay.
your actions, how appropriate are they? And with actions, the main cause of imbalance, according to Ayurveda, is the inability to control your mind and your emotions. And the stronger or I should say, the lower level emotions, and the longer you feel them, the anxiety, the fear, the guilt, the punishment, the judgment, all those
Mm-hmm.
lower energy types of emotions, they are a major cause, an underpinning to imbalance in the body. So you
Okay.
get your
So,
emotions in line and you can heal your
mhm.
body.
Right. And so I'm listening to you talk and I'm like, okay, so you're using different words, it's the different words, different language. Um, but what I hear is like the same thing as compared to like when I would tell someone that, that we need to get their stress under control, so we have to find the things that are stressing them, or we have to, like if I say, oh, we're analyzing your sleep. How is your rest? Because that's going to cause some problems and different things that cause inflammation in the body. That
Hmm.
we want to start to eliminate those things out of the body so that you can heal yourself. So you can start to get balanced. Even we say balanced. Get
Yeah, there
balanced
you
and get
go.
and get healed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So
yeah.
the when the body is in survival mode, I
Mhm.
mean, we're supposed to have the ability to survive and to be able to react quickly, and every bit of energy to you should be about survival.
Mhm.
That's innate in us.
Mhm.
However, when we live in those survival modes over a longer period of time, when the body's in survival, it has no other chance of doing anything else like rejuvenating itself.
Okay. Right.
Right?
Right.
Because you just need to survive. So the less time you give the body that chance to calm down and to
Mhm.
rejuvenate, the
Mhm.
quicker the body's going to deteriorate under the weight of all that stress that's going on.
Right, right, right. So, how did this when you started? You said you studied for 4 years. How did when you started? How did you see changes in your life? How did this make a difference for you?
So the difference was very gradual. And
Mhm.
so the folks that are looking for that quick fix,
Right.
I have to do it tomorrow. This is about living a healthy life. So it's not going to, what I experienced didn't happen overnight. So I say
Right.
little by little, a little
Mhm.
becomes a transformation.
Right.
And what was interesting through the 4 years is I was trying everything. So some
Mhm.
things worked and some things didn't. Um,
Okay.
but the first thing was to understand my body type and
Yes.
understand where the stressors were, where were those, what I call the aging velocity factors hitting
Mhm.
me, and where did I need to um, make some changes. And a lot of them were, most of them, 90% lifestyle changes.
Yes.
And aligning to the rhythms of the day and aligning to the rhythms of the seasons. But
Yeah.
it was like all of a sudden the weight just started going away, and the the conditions started improving, and my numbers started just moving in the right direction. And
Right.
at the end of the 4 years, I was 70 pounds overweight when I went into the program, and over 4 years, I was 50 pounds lighter. So again, I wasn't down to where needed to be. And that's when
Mhm.
my quality engineering kicked in, and I said, what are the vital few things, the
Right.
20% that I need to do that's going to get me 80% of my results?
Right.
And the other 80% of those little things that I was trying day after day to incorporate, let those go, focus on
Mhm.
your work, let those go. And then when you get to a point where you're almost at your goal, then find the
Right.
next set of vital few you need to work on.
Okay.
That's when, within a year after my 4 years study, when I started doing that, I lost the remaining 20 pounds,
Okay.
and the allergies that I couldn't get rid of. I had 10 allergies; those were gone, and finally my digestive distress. was eliminated. But my blood sugar levels were regulated through that 4-year cycle that I was going
Uh-huh.
through.
Uh-huh. And that's really good because, I mean, I think it's real important that people understand that nothing that we do is a quick fix. Nothing that you do is overnight. You didn't get into the situation that you're in overnight, and you're not going to get out of it overnight. It's a, it's a process. And I believe that the slower the process and the longer the process, the better. Just simply because when you do something quick, it is not a lifestyle change. It's a temporary change. And then everybody who does who does all the fad diets and all of that stuff, I mean, they soon realize that I lost this weight. Now I'm going to go back to my old habits, and which they're not trying to, but it just they creep back in, and you go back to your old habits, and then here comes that weight plus, so even just losing weight slowly is the best way to do it. And trying to eliminate stuff like I mean, we can try and do, like, I couldn't quit sugar cold turkey, so that was not going to work for me, so, and so I took like the methadone approach, with using some sweet as my methadone to wean me off of sugar. And over this period of time of, like 3 years, like, I'm completely sugar free. I have no desire for sugar, and I can drink plain tea, which I never would have been able to do that. I can drink that like water, like I could drink water. And I don't want the sweetened tea. As a matter of fact, I get mad when I go someplace and I say, "Give me unsweet tea," and they give me sweetened tea. I'm like, do you not hear unsweet? but it was a process, but it was but it allowed me to get to this place to where, like, I'm completely sugar free. So that was a process. So likewise with you, you said everything it what you did, you studied and you tried, and then it allowed you to get to where you are today.
Hmm. And
So
it's
it
interesting that you say that, because today when I was looking through my Ayurvedic encyclopedia, and it literally said, in order to make change, lasting change, it needs
mhm,
to be done incrementally. And
yeah.
if you think the Big Bang Theory is going to work, it
Mhm.
just doesn't, because
No.
you could stress the body even more than what it already is, because you're crazy trying to change probably 90% of your daily life, right?
Mhm.
If you take a Big Bang approach, and it puts more stress on the body, and we just said, the more stress, the less improvement, the more
Right.
deterioration.
Mhm. Right.
So it is
Right.
little by little that sticks and does eventually transform.
Right. And I mean, it says what they say, it takes what, 7 days to learn a new habit. It's like 7 days, but you kind of need to repeat that 7 days for 21 of them so that it
It's
does
21
become,
days.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
what I heard.
that
Yeah.
real, so that it sticks and it stays, so that you can be like, okay, like, I'm used to this. That's kind of what I need to tell myself when, about getting back to the gym. 21 days, and then I'll be good with it. But yeah, so where can people find you, and tell us about your practice and all, because I was on I went to your website and I saw like all the tools and things that you have there. So tell us about what you're doing in your practice and how you're helping people.
Yeah, so I studied Ayurveda like 18 years ago now, and I was still in my corporate job. So 4 years ago, I was laid off for the third time, and
Hmm.
decided that it was time to take this show on the road. So
Okay.
for the last 4 years, I've really been focused on bringing the voice of Ayurveda to those who really need help. And
Okay.
so you can find all that information on yourwaywellness.com. And
Okay.
it's really the portal into who I am, and what I provide. And over the 4 years, I have been building programs that specifically are focused on either weight loss or aging issues. Because most of my clients, when I say, what is the number one thing that's bothering you that you
Hmm.
need to work on? It's, I need to lose weight, or I'm too old I'm looking and feeling way too old for how young I am.
Right.
So, and then I do have another, so that's a third, and then a third that really have come with specific issues. Like I'm pre-diabetic and I need to get my blood sugar under control. Can you help me? So there's
Right.
specific conditions, but I don't build a specific program around them. It is a
Mm-hmm.
one-on-one coaching. Okay, let's dive into your health history. Let's get you a roadmap to wellness. Basically, is what I
Okay.
do for them. And then I also have a Facebook group on called Ageless Living with Ayurveda, and so that's where
Okay.
I basically hang out and making sure that my website is current and that I'm engaging on my Facebook platform.
So it's Facebook at so it's Ageless Living
with
Ayurveda
with
with Ayurveda.
Ayurveda. Yeah,
Ayurveda. Okay, so Ageless Living with Ayurveda and yourwaywellness.com is your website.
correct. Yep.
Cool, cool, cool. So I want to go back and touch on the things that you said. 'Cause you mentioned you said dosha, and then you gave the 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 terms that, like, saying like you're either air and water
Hmm.
and all of that. What that sounds to me like kind of like body typing,
Hmm.
you know. So how does that go? Like, say someone, how can you determine that? Is that an easy process to determine, or is it how's that determined?
Yeah, that's a fairly easy process to go through. And the first thing that I ask new clients to do is let's figure out your dosha and your body type. And so there are quizzes upon quizzes that if you
Mhm.
go out and Google Ayurveda body type quiz, you're
Mhm.
going to find a plethora of choices that you can make. And I
Okay.
have one on yourwaywellness.com. There, so you have
Okay.
access, and I call it your make and model. And
Okay.
if it's a comprehensive test quiz, then it should look at not just your physical profile, it should be
Mhm.
looking at your behavioral profile,
Okay.
how you react, and just some general things that it's not just your body, right? It's
Okay.
your
Okay.
emotions, your mind, and your other attributes. And take two or three of them. Don't just
Okay.
take one test and go, "That's it, I'm kapha," you know.
Mhm. Okay.
And because you may find that if you take enough of them, your true your base dosha comes out. But
Okay.
in general, it's uh, do you have time for me just to go what a vata would be, pitta would be, or a kapha would be?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So our vatas, so I am pitta vata. So we're all three doshas, right? It's
Okay.
just
So
one's,
so pitta is what now?
so pitta is fire
Fire.
and
Okay.
water,
Okay.
and vata is ether and air.
Ether
And our
and air.
kaphas are our earth and our waters, our
Okay.
water. So if you look at the quality of ether and air, what do you think about?
Oh, when I think about air,
Ether and air, what are
ether.
some of the qualities that you think of? Light,
Yeah. Yeah.
breezy,
Breezy. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Dry, it dries,
Hmm.
it's moving. So those would be the airy. So those would be the qualities of a Vata person.
Okay.
Light and airy and always on the move,
So
right? They
okay.
tend
So
to
that would be
be,
okay.
yeah. And Vata's responsible for our movement. So if you didn't
Okay.
have ether and air in your body, you wouldn't be moving.
Okay.
Okay, so that's our Vata type. So they're very quick thinking. They're prone to anxiety, fear, dryness, cracking, osteoporosis, all those things that you think of as drying. They're prone to those type of things.
Okay.
Our pittas are fire and water. So when you think of the qualities of fire,
Hmm.
heat,
Right.
transforming, uh, burning,
Mm-hmm.
those type of qualities. And because it has water associated with it, there's an unctuousness, there's a watery feeling to that as well.
Mm-hmm.
So our Pitta types, mostly red hair, they're on fire.
Okay, the
They,
fiery
the
personalities, is that
fiery
going to work?
personalities, you got
Okay,
it.
okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Um, they're probably medium in build and stature. More than likely, they've got green or blue eyes. Their skin, they're prone to skin rashes and those type of things. Anything heat related bothers them. Don't like the
Mm-hmm.
sun because it's too much heat. So those are our pittas, and our kaphas, because they are the water and the earth. When you think about that, the qualities are rock solid, dense, and most people don't like these terms, but they're endearing. they're
Right.
um, they're grounded. They
Stable.
are the
Yeah.
salt of the earth.
Yeah.
Um, they are prone to depression. They're prone to lethargy. But it's what gives
Are those the
us
people that
this
hold in their emotions?
kaphas,
They hold
kaphas,
in their
yeah,
emotions?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
kapha, very quiet, probably very, they're the wallflowers sitting over and they're taking everything in. And they're
Okay.
probably a lot of introverts, kapha uh, related. So that's just
Okay.
a sampling. And so just looking at
Okay.
that, you could say, oh, I'm Vata Pitta.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that, I mean, that's really cool because this is so are you, is that actually like um an Indian yeah, that type of thing? Is that
I'm,
or is it just all medicine?
I'm sorry, you broke up
Uh-oh,
completely. I
are we
didn't hear that.
okay? Is Ayurveda an Indian medicine type term or Eastern medicine term? How does that and how does that play um into Western medicine? I think we're frozen.
Yeah, I got the Ayurveda. It is East Asian, if that's what you had asked.
Okay.
But
See,
it's
anybody out there? Are we frozen? How are we doing? Are we frozen up? So I'm gonna see because I see that my screen is frozen.
yeah, you're frozen,
So I see that I'm here. Uh,
and you're
and I don't.
very jumbled.
I'm not sure what's all going on. Let me try. I'm trying to clear the. I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, I just turned off my video to see if that would help with the bandwidth a little bit.
Never really run into a problem, but this is really weird. It's just like I can't get my screens to move, but I can still hear you. Are you hearing me? Okay.
I can hear you fine. You stopped. It,
No.
it, it finally came in one stream, so I can now hear you again.
Okay. Okay. I think we can just go. I just was asking the question about the about Ayurveda being Eastern medicine and how does that work with Western medicine?
It actually integrates very well with Western medicine because it's universal. Its laws are universal. So I don't I don't practice it that it's Ayurveda alone. I practice it in a way that I use it to improve how I take care of myself. So it is very transportable, let's put it that way, from east to west. And I see that Miss Teresa has left the program. So I guess for now, I will say goodbye as well. And hope that there was value that you got out of this. Thank you. Jai.